Okay, everyone, here we go with number 2, the second short attention span webinar in our series. This one is called The 10 Reasons for Poor Time Management. Kelly, I think we probably could have called this 100 Reasons for Poor Time Management, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think so.
So let's get right on it, and I will talk a little bit about accountability. As a father of 3 girls, I can tell you I've got my master's degree, if not my PhD, in accountability. Nothing gets done without a deadline. And I carry that philosophy from my parenting my kids down to coaching my clients. It's an old adage, what gets planned gets done. It gets accomplished because there's a deadline to it. Here's the thing. You know, Kelly, if you called me up and you said, Bill, I need to get that PowerPoint presentation from you. Can you send that to me? I say, sure. And it'll go on my list. Maybe a piece of paper, maybe my iCal on my computer, and there it would sit. And you call me up and say, Bill, I say, right. You know what? If you said to me, Bill, I need it by 8 o'clock tonight, you'd have it because you put a deadline to it. So assign deadlines to the most important to-do items. The second thing is just very simply be very strict about creating a calendar and sticking to it. My friend Kelly Mawazi is going to talk about the CSR disease. Kelly, what's that about?
Well, often what CSR disease really means is that there's a trust factor involved in the production process. A lot of sales reps think that if they don't take care of it, it won't get done. So they're there for the quote. They're there for the job to be written up. They make sure it gets into production. They stand over the desktop guy's back and shoulder to make sure that they're pre-flighting it correctly. They're talking to the pressman about how it's going to get done and worrying about quality control and shipping and all these different things that really, folks, it's not your job. It's not what you're meant to do. This is stealing your time and your money by having you doing things that are really not your job to do. So we've got to be detailed when it comes to getting a job written up and making sure that everything we know gets communicated onto that work order, and we got to let it go. We've got to trust that the other people in the plant that are paid good money to do their jobs are going to do their jobs. Let it go. Bill, what's next on the list? Oh, sorry.
Hard to do. It's hard to do. And I know a client in New Hampshire who sells $2 million in print a year, and the plant is 30 miles away, so he can't be there to mother the job. The guy sells $2 million. There's people in the shop that work out of the shop that don't sell half of that. And I think you nailed it. Whoops, I just messed up here. There we go. I think you nailed it, Kelly. It's exactly the problem there on CSR disease. Environment. You know, here's an issue. You're surrounded by a lot of distractions. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's strictly environmental. People will have the sales desk, right in the middle of a busy part of the shop, and it might be unavoidable. But if there's a way that you can either get the work done early, the really important stuff that's got to get done, get it done early before your day takes off and things get really noisy, or close your door, put a sign on the outside of the door, or your cubicle, put something across it, just points out, you know what, I know I don't have the quiet that I need, but I've got to do everything I can to control those distractions. Kelly, what's number 7?
Well, it seems overly simplified, but you're disorganized, and here's the truth of it. Pretty much everybody is. So the truth of it is, if you're trying to do too many things, if your eyes are focused on too many different verticals or too many different activities involved in making the money and getting the jobs done, then it's time to focus. And one of the best ways to focus and really clear this situation up is to physically clean up your office. If you've got papers all over the place, get it cleaned up, make some lists about what needs to get done. Use that calendar that Bill mentioned earlier to put down those accountability factors. I need to get this quote done by 2 o'clock today. I need to get these prospecting calls made by 5 o'clock today. Make the list and stick to it. And ask yourself this question. Is what I'm doing right now making me money? Is what I'm doing right now making the company money? And those things that the answer is not yes need to be done at a different time.
You know what, Kelly, I have a client that started the year off by saying to me, Bill, I'm going to work with you on my time management. And we spent the entire month of January just focused on his time management. He said at the end of the month, he said, okay, now I have found the time. I am organized. I have found the time. Now I'm going to go sell. And he has been absolutely taking names ever since. Doing great. So that's a terrific place to start. Next up, in the absence of deadlines. You know, there's no, if there are no deadlines, if everything is open-ended, then it's going to be very difficult to get something done. So, you know, if I include a due date and you've agreed to it, then it's much more likely to get it done. So commit that time or date to accomplish the task. Commit to it and stand by it. Say, I've got to get this done. Here are the 3 things that I've got to get done today. And you might even look at this from a week's standpoint. You know, this is what I like about this. One idea that I used to employ was I used to start every week by saying, here are the 5 things that I'm going to accomplish this week. And I would sit down with my marketing manager. We would argue about those 5 things. What should they be? And then at the same time next week, we'd go over the 5 things that we were going to do, that I was going to do, and then come up with a list for new 5. But each one of them had to be done by Friday. So if it was something that wasn't possible, I wouldn't take it on. But it was a very effective way of helping me to manage my time. Next up, procrastination.
Well, you know, this is really for those folks that have a hard time focusing on one task at a time. They might think that they're being really productive because, hey, I can do 7 things at once. It's not true, and it's not serving you well at all when it comes to being productive and selling. It's, you know, sometimes it could be plain old fear too, like I haven't made a sales call in a long time, so I'm not confident, so I'm going to put it at the bottom of my list, or it's just going to be one of those nebulous things that never gets done. Focusing on, these are the things I have to do, and these are the things I want to do. So anything that serves selling really has to be put into the have-to category. So this really, at the end of the day, is about discipline. It's about forcing yourself to do the things you know you need to do, even if they're not the fun things to do. And you got to do it now. Again, multitasking is really not serving you in this particular situation. It's focusing on one task at a time and getting that thing done, and then moving on to the next task and staying focused.
And moving on to the next item, we're talking about being overwhelmed or crazy busy. You know, this happens. We go sometimes from being dead quiet to crazy busy, and your time management problems might occur in this situation because you don't know how to handle those crazy busy times. There are some special rules that you have got to engage. You've got to be hypersensitive with your priorities. You've got to be understanding the difference between urgent and important, and then you've got to learn to say no. It's something that's very, very difficult. You heard Kelly talk earlier about profit silos. Well, profit silos are different things that you're focused on, right? And each one of those is going to be a great opportunity, but if you have too many of them, then that's a problem, and you are overwhelmed.
So next up, we've got, sorry, I was just going to say, next up we've got bad choices. You're just simply doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. If it's 10 o'clock in the morning and you're watching a webinar, let me tell you, you are stealing, again, you're stealing time and money away from yourself, because that is an activity that should be done during non-peak selling times. You've got to be able to prioritize. It's the second most important aspect of time management is prioritization, knowing what belongs at the top of the to-do list and what could be on the bottom of the to-do list and something that could be left for a later time. So again, with everything that you're doing, it's a good time a few times a day to stop and say, what is the best use of my time right now? And this is something that Bill taught me a while ago that is so true, is check your emails on a schedule. It might be I check them at 10, 12, and 3, but email is just a time grabber. It really will take all of your time and attention away, so don't have it open all the time and checking it all the time. If you put yourself on a schedule, you'll still get everything done, but you'll be able to focus on other tasks that have to get done more importantly.
And we're counting down to number 1. Number 2 is a lack of structure. This is kind of an interesting point, and as we were making up this list, I was relying on a coaching call that I had done where someone said, you know, I've got so much stuff to do, I don't really have a plan. He said, the days that I have a plan are the days that I succeed. And we talked about structure and boundaries and things like that. It was a very interesting conversation. He doesn't, you know, this particular gentleman didn't have an idea of what his priorities were. You need to. You need to know, as Kelly said, what should I be doing at this moment? What should I be doing today? What's the plan of the week? And the solution then is to make a list of your job functions. I remember years ago, Kelly, I said to myself, My company benefits the most when I stay on the phone. That job function became my primary goal of the day. Get on the phone, stay on the phone as much as possible. So I made a list of all the things that were on my to-do list, all my job functions, and then I just ran down one to another, and I created a plan for my day. It helped me tremendously. So Kelly, what's number one?
Preparation, preparation, preparation. If there's nothing else that you remember, it's that the best advice you can receive about time management is never leave today without having tomorrow planned. I hammer this home to all of my customers. I learned it from Bill, and I do it myself. Your day will be so much more productive if you know right now, before you leave for the day, exactly what tomorrow is going to look like. And again, stuff's going to get in your way, and you're going to have to be flexible. But just think how much more productive you would be if you showed up tomorrow morning for work and you already knew, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. The overall goal of preparation is to kind of get a handle on the day, the week, and the month. Are there themes? Are there things you can group together? And really be able to envision how your time is going to be spent. And again, it is without a doubt the most helpful piece of advice I've ever received about time management. And my days always go better when I know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow.
Same here, ditto. There are days that I am very effective. I started with a plan. There are days when I flounder. It's because I started without a plan. So I can definitely back that up myself. All right, well, there you go. There's Short Attention Span webinar number 2. We look forward to providing you with some future information on additional short attention span webinars. Kelly, thank you. Great job.